I've listened to The Heights by Knox Hamilton longer than it's actually been out, probably, parts of it.
And I listened to it once yesterday.
Welcome to Spin It. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Spin It, the Record Ranking Podcast. For people who would rather be listening to music, I'm James, and with me is Connor.
What's up?
Not much. What's up with you?
Just here to do episode 203 of the Spin It podcast.
What a coincidence. Me too.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pumped. This is a great pick for me in the year of discovery. I probably could have saved them. I almost picked this album for my birthday episode this past year instead of Craig Finn. I went with We All Want the Same Things instead, but The Heights was a strong contender. I just thought in the year of discovery, this is an album that I discovered in a really cool way. It's an album that I want you and the audience to discover. Figured why not bring The Heights? I assume this is another pure discovery for you that you had not heard of before.
Yeah, not heard of.
I think that's probably the case for most of the audience. And let me just say right at the top of the episode, you're welcome. You'll thank me later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I discovered Knox Hamilton way back in like 2014 on the radio. I was listening to the radio in my car when I was driving around town, and when The Heights came out, I was all over it because I already knew some big radio songs like Work It Out. I think Washed Up Together made its way to the radio that I was listening to. A couple singles, but I was a big fan. And so when I stumbled upon The Heights, like the week it was released, I was so excited. Probably it was my definitive album of the whole summer in 2017.
Wow.
And then some, like beyond the summer of 2017. Like, that's just such a rare way for me to discover an album. I'm not a big radio listener nowadays.
You're not a Radiohead?
No, I'm not a big Radiohead. I'm a fan of Radiohead, but I'm not a big Radiohead myself. But that's how I found it, and now here it is for you to discover right in your podcast feed. Easy peasy.
That's so crazy. I have such an interesting way that I found this album, too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You see, I did 202 episodes of a podcast with this guy, and then we hit episode 203, and that's what he picked.
Wow.
I was like, wild.
You know, that is honestly a pretty unique discovery story. Now that you mention it, that is a rare one that I think is probably unique just to you, and maybe the Mixtaper.
No, the Mixtaper already knew about Knox Hamilton.
Oh, I figured he might have, because he had to do facts and spins and stuff beforehand for the game later. That makes sense. Well, honestly, I knew their music, and I knew about them, and I knew a little bit about them. But until I decided to buckle down and do this podcast episode, I hadn't done a lot of research into them, and now I have. I feel like I know and appreciate so much more about the band now that I've prepped for this episode. So hopefully the execution of this episode will only deepen those feelings that I have for the band. You ready to learn about them? Ready to discover more?
Yeah, always.
Always. That's the spirit. That's the spunky can-do attitude that I love from a co-host. Knox Hamilton is a trio act made up of vocalist and guitarist Boots Copeland. Yes, his name is Boots. Drummer Cobo Copeland. And guitarist Drew Buffington.
Like Dora.
Like Dora? Like, yeah, Dora and Boots. That's true. Except he's not a monkey. He's a guy. The Copelands have been friends and brothers since birth, but they started up their band with their buddy Brad Pierce in Little Rock, Arkansas in the mid-2000s. Drew joined the band in 2009. So that's where they all came from. Little Rock. I like Little Rock. I've only been through twice-ish, but it was a really neat city. I would love to go back. They took the name Knox Hamilton from a photo they found in an old yearbook from the 1970s. The brothers volunteered in a thrift shop and they found this book. And Knox Hamilton, they found his picture and they said, he was one of the most rock and roll dudes I have ever seen, according to Boots. So whatever that means, maybe he had sideburns, maybe he had sunglasses. He was just a cool dude, that Knox Hamilton guy. The history nerd in me also loves that it sounds like it's based on the first presidential cabinet of George Washington, but no relation, actually. Maybe that's why the guy Knox Hamilton was named Knox Hamilton.
Maybe.
We'll never know. Hey, Knox Hamilton, the band or the guy if you're listening, that's a cool name. Very rock and roll dude. Boots and Cobo, they grew up as pastors' kids, so they spent a lot of time and they learned a lot of music from Sundays in church. And they learned to play for themselves using thrift store instruments. They were writing music together by the time they were teenagers. And after graduating college, they really started to take it seriously. They ended up leaving steady jobs to do music full time, complete with recording and tours. But, that doesn't just start and be luxurious. It came from humble beginnings. Boots said every record we made was out in the sticks in a little studio in Ward, Arkansas. And other than that, I mean, he says there is, quote, zero music scene in Little Rock, which is unfortunate. But hey, Knox Hamilton, they're blazing the trail for a Little Rock music scene. There is Little Rock in Little Rock, if you could believe it. Very aptly named town. Anyway, they're making music. Their first EP was called Sirocco. It came out in 2011. Then the next year they put out So Far Safari. Barely Missed You, a song that you may now recognize from the latter tracks of The Heights, made its debut on So Far Safari. You would also recognize Work It Out off their third EP, 2013's The Great Hall. That also features Beach Boy, a song that they put out later as a single that I have also come to love a lot. And then Work It Out is the song that really caught on, right? It's track 7 on The Heights, but before that it was a single. That's the one that landed on playlists and radio stations and iTunes mixes. That's the one that I first heard on the radio because of this exact phenomenon. Work It Out skyrocketed to 200,000 streams very, very quickly. It even cracked the top 5 on Alt Nation's Alt 18 countdown. Boots said the melodies are what people take with them from the live show and from the recordings. He said the melodies stay with people for days, and the melodies of Work It Out are what really hooked people and turned them on to Knox Hamilton. They even got to go on a sweeping national tour in support of Colony House, another band that I found around this time, maybe a little later, that you may know, or you may know soon. Have you heard of Colony House?
I don't think so.
Okay. Oddly unsure.
Well, I'm always hesitant to say no because then you're like, how do you not know this song? And I'm like, oh, I do know that.
How can he not know? I think it's plausible that you wouldn't know Colony House.
So no, I don't think so.
I've scored 2 of their albums at this point.
There's a lot I don't know in the world. Colony House might be one of them.
One of them that you don't know.
One of the many things.
Yeah, that's true. But all that independent success landed Knox Hamilton a record deal with Prospect Park Records, and that was the key to constructing their first full-length project. So far, their only full LP, The Heights. That's what we're talking about today, of course. It made its way into the world on March 10th, 2017. It's a record with a really light, floaty, sunshiny, happy vibe to it. It's very much in line with the band's style and their intent, kind of their mission. Boots said, "It always stuck with me how a song or melody could impact your state of mind, and as we began to write music, I realized I never wanted to feed a bad moment, but rather foster a good one." He said, "I'd rather make people dance than cry. Life is filled with problems and rainy days. I'd rather Knox Hamilton ease that dreariness than indulge in it." So that's why we get so many happy songs, so many love songs, so many inspirational songs, motivational songs. The Heights, I mean, it really does take you to the heights, in my humble opinion. Boots calls the album a bit of a short story, fictional, but with strong roots based in real life. He said it's my Hemingway novel, only less boring. My wife is my muse, and I write most of the lyrics, so there are plenty of pop love songs. That is true. They also talked a lot about the dual nature of the record, right? There's a lot of contrast between synthier stuff and more grounded analog guitar stuff from track to track. It's not an album that is one thing. Boots said, as a joke, we say we have 2 albums within an album. We have an album we did with a buddy of ours from Capitol Records in El Paso, Texas. It's heavier rock, more guitar-driven. And then we have the more synth-pop stuff we did in LA. So we have a dichotomy for our first album. We'll call it an experimental album. You'll be able to tell the difference. It's not a homogeneous, every song sounds the same kind of album. And I hope it keeps the listeners on their toes a little bit. And I think it does. I mean, for example, listen to Work It Out versus Back Porch, or Washed Up Together versus Pretty Way to Fight. Like, that dichotomy is very apparent, and I like the way that they kind of mush them together. They don't go like, the first half is a synthy half and the back half is a rock half. You know, we've talked about albums that did that before. Drake did that with his 2-disc Scorpion, and I don't know, it kind of got repetitive and rote after a while. The Heights I really like because we bounce back and forth between those 2 styles, which is cool. Also, fun trivia tidbit, to make The Heights, Knox Hamilton did some work with Eric Palmquist, a producer who's worked with another Spin It band. He produced with Bad Sons.
Oh.
Yeah, we talked about Bad Sons eons ago. Some episode in the 30s, 34 maybe, was Bad Sons.
It was so long ago.
It's been a while. But it's great. So far, you know, that's The Heights, their only full-length LP, but their later work includes the 2018 EP Beach Boy. Great song, great EP. They did an Audio Tree live album from 2019, and in 2020 they put out another EP called Weekend Yet, along with a smattering of singles, including 3 new tracks in 2023. Is that perhaps indicative of a sophomore album coming soon? I don't know. Maybe. I would love one. Knox Hamilton, if you're listening, I would love one.
And if you're not listening, you'd
I'd still love one.
But you don't know about it.
I don't know. It's just, 2017. It's been 8 years. I'm itching for another Knox Hamilton record. But we'll see. Awards and accolades, they've got no real major awards yet, besides a lot of critical and journalistic praise. Although the band has said one of their goals is to win an Album of the Year Grammy. So good luck to you. Maybe we'll see them on a Spin It Grammy special someday. Who knows? Anyway, that's what I've got about Knox Hamilton. That's what I've got about the Heights. And now it's time for the Mixtaper to teach us 4 brand new things as we play another round of Factor Spin.
Yeah, let's get the Mixtaper on out here.
Let's see what he's got. I'm excited for this 203rd episode.
Hey, it's me, the Mixtaper.
Hello, Mixtaper. You got a pretty way to fight, but I like it all right. Welcome to the podcast. Dare I say, I barely missed you at all last week.
Well, yeah, you didn't miss me because I was there.
Well, I just mean in the 6 days since, right? I've barely missed you.
Oh, you've barely missed me since the last episode. Yeah, probably after how last week went.
It didn't go great. It was a good old 50-50, but I'm still on a non-winning streak. I gotta get my groove back in the 200s.
Yeah. Well, I hope you don't get your groove back on these 4. I'd like to keep you grooveless.
Well, that's why we're diametrically opposed and cast as foes in the ever-unfolding saga that is Factor Spin.
And let's unfold another 4 facts right now with our first fact. Fans thought the second album was coming years ago.
Oh, I do believe that. I mean, it has been years. What made them think this? Were there misleading signs? Was the Beach Boy EP misconstrued to be a harbinger of another album? What happened?
They got April Fooled.
No, not an April Fool. Oh, that's tough. So, are you saying Knox Hamilton presented in some fashion an April Fool's joke about the next album?
Yes.
Yikes. We looking, 2018, 2019? Which April is this?
We're talking April 2021.
Oh, interesting. What did they say?
Why the long pause on the O?
Well, it's just because I'm like, man, 2021 feels recent, but literally it's been 4
But
years.
that was 4
and
years.
It was 4 years since this album came out. That's why there was a long pause. I was just trying to wrap my head around the passing of time.
You were doing math.
I was
You were doing time math.
It was just, pandemic time math.
Ugh, the worst time math.
Yeah, so 2021, they tweet? Make an Instagram post? How do they reveal this information?
Release a fake album tease.
Oh, no.
Like a fake album teaser.
So they, have a snippet of someone's unheard song, something, and fans are like, wait, it must be an album.
It was a fake teaser for a country album.
Oh, man.
And it was called Knoxville Hamilton.
Oh, that's funny. Like the city in Tennessee, Knoxville, Hamilton. That feels like the perfect caliber of April Fool's joke, where it's like, probably people won't buy this or take it too seriously because it seems a little out there.
Yeah.
But fans bought it, huh? Fans thought it was real?
I mean, I don't know how many people actually fell for it, but...
Well, it's just an April Fool's joke, sure.
Yeah. But the teaser trailer they released featured them with mustaches, riding horses, a steel guitar solo, and a bunch of kazoo, actually.
Kazoo? On a country album?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh.
Why not? This is tough. I wanted the second album to come years ago. I'd take the second album coming anytime. It'd be sad if there's no second album, but I will wait a long, long time. Country album called Knoxville Hamilton. This is really good. This would be a really clever April Fool's joke, but it's also a really suspicious spin.
You have hit the crux of the problem you are facing.
I know. I think this is a spin, though.
Thinks it's a spin.
I think this is not true, and...
No April Fool's album.
No, and no small part of my decision comes from the fact that the lead singer's name is Boots, and one of the most popular kinds of boots are cowboy boots, which would lend themselves perfectly to a country album.
I like that that's where you go and not just the pun, Knoxville.
Well, that's also a part of it. That's true. I mean, both things can be true. Knoxville Hamilton is a little funny. I don't know. Knoxville's not necessarily the most known for their country music, although they are pretty close to the homeland of Dolly Parton. I don't know. I just don't see it. I think it's a funny April Fool's joke, but I'm too suspicious of it to say that it's a fact. Teasing an album is no small feat for a band that's been 4 years without an LP. I feel like fans would not love that kind of a tease. I don't know. I think it's a spin.
This is a spin.
Ugh. Knoxville Hamilton. Clever spin, though.
I did think of the cowboy boots pun and thought about including it, but I was like, that might be a tad too far.
It was a bit obvious, yeah. Even to not include it, it seemed glaring. But I do love the idea.
And I thought it was fun to take something that was an obvious pun, like Knoxville, and that would be like, you'd be like, oh, he'd think of that. And then be like, but it's an April Fool's. Not like there was a country album or something to that effect.
Yeah, like they would play a joke and say that, probably. It's tough, it's tricky. Why kazoos?
I thought that was a weird detail. Sometimes I like to throw weird details in just because you'll be like, why that? He wouldn't just make that up.
That's true.
That doesn't fit. It must be a true detail.
To throw me off the scent.
So yeah, why not kazoos?
Kazoos are great. They're an instrumentless instrument.
If you had asked what kind of songs were teased in there, I was going to say that they teased a duet with Billy Ray Cyrus's third cousin.
Wow, I wouldn't have believed that at all.
Yeah, listen, it'd be pretty funny though.
It would have been.
Like the third cousin of some guy who's kind of famous.
He's got business up front and business in the back. That's a clever little spin.
Appreciate it. Let's see how you do with this next clever little fact. Or spin.
Right, yeah, we can't be sure.
Boots married a couple live on stage.
Whoa, that's a lot to process. Married a couple live on stage, so he's like ordained?
Yeah.
Okay, and...
Which is a true fact about you as well. That I did not
It's
realize.
true. No, I snuck that one in the Miley Cyrus, the Mixtaper. Sorry, snuck that in the Miley Cyrus episode, the second one. So he marries this couple. They must have arranged it beforehand, right? They didn't just show up at the concert and be like, marry us. We're here. We got a ring and witnesses. Marry us. And he's like, okay, because that'd be unthinkable. What's the situation? Are they big Knox Hamilton fans?
Yeah.
They tied the Knox. I don't know.
Oh, that's good. It's okay. I mean, we shouldn't say good.
It's okay.
He is ordained. He's actually a pastor's son.
That's true.
And got ordained, and not a lot of information about it. Really not a lot of information about these guys in general that you didn't already have in the rundown. But I did find this one. So they brought them up on stage for the ceremony, which was just a quick, like, saying of the vows, yada, yada, yada. And then they had in the after party of the concert, them and their families and stuff got the party with the band backstage.
Interesting. I think that's wild. I think that's pretty cool. And I guess you probably don't have more information, but I'd be curious to know how they knew he was ordained. If they asked him first and then he said, shoot, let me get ordained. That's awesome. Like,
yeah, I really, it could have been like, friends of the band. I really don't know much else outside of there was a wedding live on stage officiated by Boots.
I love the concept. That's really cool. But alas, I think I'm just going to have to go spin.
But alas, he's going spin.
It's a really cool idea. I really like the thought of it. It feels a little too suspicious with like knowing that they're pastors' kids. I don't know. And I said tying the Knox, and I was like, that sounds like a pun. I just feel like...
You've convinced yourself with your own bad pun.
I know. Well, I feel like that might not be an unwise way to go during this. Sometimes when you can't find a lot of facts, you lean on puns and things. And
it's fine. Lock in whatever you want. Don't let me influence you.
I'm going to lock in spin, but I wish and hope that this is a fact.
All right. This is a trispin.
Oh, not a trispin. Cool, though. I really love that idea.
It is cool. And not based on any weird, only okay pun.
Hey. Well, I think it's cool that you came up with it. I'm surprised we haven't had anything kind of like it in 203 episodes.
Well, I aim to be unique.
You succeed.
Next up, all the band members have matching tattoos.
Uh-oh. We have had matching tattoos before. So you'd like to be unique, and then we found this recycled fact right after.
Well, I also like to recycle.
Well, this could also be true.
Good for the environment.
So, yeah, it's good for the environment to recycle a fact every now and again. Boy Genius had matching teeth and those goblets from the tarot cards. What does Knox Hamilton have?
They have matching yearbook photo tattoos.
Whoa. Okay. Yearbook photo? Are they like their own yearbook photos, or are they perhaps the yearbook photo of Knox Hamilton, the most rock and roll guy ever?
They are of the mythical Mr. Knox Hamilton himself, the most rock and roll guy ever to exist.
Okay. That feels weird.
It does feel really weird.
It's really weird because I don't think they've ever met him. They don't know him. And they don't have, like, his permission to put his face on their bodies.
Do you need permission to put someone's face on. I mean,
It's probably considerate.
if it says it a weird thing to do without permission, yeah, definitely. Is it improper?
Yeah, it might be illegal, I guess, depending on... I don't know what rights you have to your image.
I don't know.
If you can reasonably expect someone to not get a tattoo of your face. I guess I really don't know.
I don't know either.
Where do they have these tattoos?
On their bicep, the bicep,
Okay, that's the arm.
the upper part of the arm. Yeah, above the elbow, below the shoulder, the bicep.
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
Nailed it.
How big is it?
Not that big. I mean, big enough. You can't go too small with something like that, but it's not like a full bicep, full upper arm tattoo.
A full sleeve of this guy's yearbook picture from 1970 something. I don't know.
So really, the tattoo, it says Knox Hamilton like in big letters.
Uh-huh.
And then in between them is the yearbook photo. But it's from this image of them, it's not the world's clearest. With how clear this is, they could probably get away with it because it's not like, oh, that's clearly the guy.
That's clearly...
It's just that is a guy.
Well, but you can't really have plausible deniability when his name is slapped in giant letters right above and below it.
Well, your plausible
That's
deniability is that that's also our band name.
Clearly, that's not Knox Hamilton. Couldn't be. Why would you even suggest it?
Couldn't be.
I think the band members could have matching tattoos. I don't really think that they're matching tattoos of Mr. Rock and Roll 1970s Knox Hamilton. I think that's the spin.
Locking that one in.
Yeah, and if it's a fact, sorry guys, it's weird.
Well, get ready to call him weird because this is a spin.
A relief. I didn't have to think that one of my favorite bands was weird.
Well, we got one more fact to go, so, jury's out.
Jury's still out. Yeah, and it's a final rampish kind of fact, I'm sure.
It is a final rampish kind of fact.
Do they have any matching tattoos that you know of?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, not yet.
Maybe they'll get one of Knox Hamilton.
If they get a matching tattoo of Knox Hamilton, I will give you that point on a silver platter.
That is what the precedent says to do.
Yeah, and honestly, it's kind of a bogus precedent, isn't it? That even though it was correctly a spin at the time of locking it in, if it ever becomes a fact, we grandfather out that point. Like, that feels wrong. But that's how we've said it. So that's how it must be. Like, it can never be true or else.
It must never be true or it must always be true as well on the other end.
That's true. Although we don't have much like that.
Yeah.
Like if Van Morrison's biggest fan stops being a border collie.
Our final ramp. The band that you have come to know and love almost didn't exist because Boots and Cobo almost got mauled by a bear.
What? Am I losing it? Haven't we had facts about people who have almost been mauled by bears on here before?
I mean, it's 203 episodes. They can't all be unique. I don't know. Actually, have we? I don't know. If we have, I don't remember it.
Well, there's no hits for bear.
So then I'm going to say no.
No, we absolutely did.
Did we?
It's feeling very familiar.
Start asking questions.
How do you almost get mauled by a bear?
Come into a close encounter with a bear, but then successfully run away.
Yeah, that would do it.
Or more accurately, the bear gave up.
The bear gave up, so they were running?
The bear lost interest. Yeah.
What kind of bear? Where were they? How'd they get in this situation?
They were counselors at a skateboarding camp.
Okay.
Where they help teach kids how to do skate tricks and, skate camp.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of camps.
There are all sorts of camps.
And they decided, they knew of a place nearby where their cabins were that had a bunch of blueberry bushes.
Yeah.
And they're like, we want blueberries.
Blueberry bushes?
Go get some blueberries.
Okay.
They weren't the only ones who wanted blueberries that day.
No, of course not. A bear wants the blueberries with them.
Yeah, I mean, a bear shows up and they're like, oh crap, a bear. And they take off.
They take off. Does the bear pursue them?
Kinda. The way they tell it, the bear gets a little PO'd that they're picking his blueberries.
Yeah, right.
And proceeds to chase after them, but they quickly cross a creek. And the bear kind of doesn't cross the creek after them.
Oh.
Just kind of gives up at that point and goes back to the blueberries.
Okay, so they don't almost get mauled per se. They just end up near a bear.
Yeah, but saying Boots and Cobo were near a bear isn't nearly as exciting of a final ramp.
No. They were near a bear. Good stuff. Well, I'm glad that they lived.
And went on to produce an album that you know and love.
Yeah, this is really curious. I'm just the skate park. I don't know. Skate camp is interesting.
A skate camp?
Yeah. Anyway, I feel like this is a spin. I grew up in the age of Dora the Explorer, and I distinctly remember a blueberry picking episode where there are high stakes and they have to be quiet. I don't remember all the specifics. Super duper likely that there could be a bear in this Dora the Explorer episode. And maybe it's even Swiper that you've turned into a bear and they almost got mauled, but they Swiper no swiped him. I just feel like Dora picked blueberries with boots, and it just feels like another instance where you've lifted from a scripted thing, and it just feels like you couldn't resist. And I don't know if you thought you'd get away with it, but Mixtaper no spinning. This is a spin.
Thinks I got all spins this week, and he's risking it all on a maybe Dora the Explorer episode.
Well, there's definitely a blueberry one. They go up the blueberry hill, and I remember it because it's like the Fats Domino song. Anyway,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Fats Domino found his thrill on Blueberry Hill.
I was not a Dora kid.
You were not a Dora kid? Hold on.
No.
What?
What?
Well, that explains why you never learned Spanish, I guess. Enjoy your monolinguistic life. I grew up with Dora. I know. Yo sé. Es un spin.
I mean, I know the basics. I know there's Dora, there's Boots, there's Diego, right? Isn't he a guy?
Oh, yeah. He's a deep cut kind of character. He's like Dora's cousin.
Oh, is he?
Then he got a spin-off show. Go, Diego, go.
There's Swiper, there's the map, and there's the backpack.
Yeah.
That's about all I got.
Yeah, well, this no es la verdad.
I don't know what that means.
That means it's not the truth.
Oh, so you always spin locking that in.
Yeah, I think Dora's the one that was next to a bear, not Boots and Cobo.
This is a spin! Congrats on a perfect week.
Super duper cool Exploradora. Cool.
The biggest spin of them all might have been that I wasn't a Dora kid. I definitely was.
Oh.
And this is definitely not the plot to episode 11 of season 1 of Dora, the berry hunt.
No, definitely not. So if I watched season 1, episode 11, the berry hunt right now, I wouldn't find any similarities between what Dora does and the fact that you just spun.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not.
Definitely not a bear in that episode that chases them off of Blueberry Hill, where they have to hop in a boat and paddle really fast across the river to get away from the bear.
And they going on a berry hunt, and they got a whisper.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And I definitely didn't just change river to creek and add in a skate park, which is a true fact. They actually ran. I almost just went with this as a true fact, but I couldn't resist the Dora Boots connection.
No, of course not.
But they ran. They spent their summers running a skateboard camp where they hosted it for local youth to just come, and they taught them skate tricks and ran small competitions and stuff like that. It wasn't like a true go into the forest camp. It was just like a little skateboarding camp, like a skateboard 101 for little kids that they would spend their summers doing.
Imagine skateboard camp in the middle of the forest for no reason. You're in tents. You're just living out of tents, but then during the daytime you go skateboarding. Sneaky. Thought you'd get one by me.
Well, I never know what you were and weren't. You had a weird childhood with what you were and weren't allowed to watch, so I wouldn't have been surprised if for some reason you just never watched Dora.
Well, that's fair. There's a lot that I haven't seen. If this were a fact about Barney or the Teletubbies or, a lot of other kid shows, I probably wouldn't have gotten it.
Well, that's all I got.
Well, fantastic. I feel like I did find my groove again on this episode.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's good. I think I'm back in the swing of the 200s now, which is a relief. This was fun. What a good year of discovery.
Until next week.
Goodbye, Mixtaper.
Yeah!
And welcome back, Connor. Let's talk about this album art.
Let's do it.
Wonderful. It is Eyes in Cages, and they're kind of on towers, stacks of records, cylinders. They're looking around. They're in the clouds.
It's very colorful.
It is.
Which I don't think comes across in your description of it. When I think I hear Eyes in Cages, I get a very dark album cover.
You know what? That's a great point. They're colorful. Yeah, very colorful cages. Honestly, I get the impression that the cages aren't there to, restrain the eyes. I think they're there to keep the eyes safe.
Are they cages?
Probably not. I don't know.
It almost, and don't ask me why the eyes are there. I haven't gotten that far. But it almost looks like lamps that are then projecting like little discs of different colors, colored light down words.
Oh, okay.
Or lighthouses.
Oh,
Or are these supposed to be lighthouses because the eyes have like light coming out of them?
they do seem a little lighthousey.
Maybe these are lighthouses.
Yeah, like beacons to help guide the way through this cloudy day.
Yeah.
I like that. I really do love the colors, though. You're right. It's a very bright, colorful album cover.
The colors are very cool.
I don't really know much about it. I don't know why it's set up this way, but I kind of like it. It's a little surreal. It makes you pick up the album for sure. Like if I saw this album cover, I'd be like, what is this?
Yeah, I wish more album art was this unique.
Yeah, it stands out. There's nothing like it. And I think it really does match the tone of the album once we get into it. You know, that happy-go-lucky, that floaty, vibey, bright sensation that you get when listening to this album. Like, this album covers all over that. But first up on this album is We Get Back. What'd you think? You're experiencing this band for the very first time. I mean, any expectations based on the album cover, the alt indie pop designation? What were you expecting? And what did you get?
Based on the, judging an album by its cover, which you're allowed to do because it's not a book.
It's not a book. Yeah. Sometimes we do advise against, though. But sometimes we advise for.
Based on the year it came out in this album art, I was expecting a kind of indie band vibe.
Yeah.
And that's what I got.
Yeah, you kind of get it. It's a little more rock focused, though, than something like Bad Sons or,
Yeah.
Other stuff we've talked about. The Wildlife. They've got a little more of a rock edge.
Yeah, but it's not like a hard rock. It's a very soft indie rock.
Yeah, almost like a beach rock kind of style.
Yeah, but then that makes me think Beach Boys, and the Beach Boys were not what I wanted the Beach Boys to be.
No, I just mean like summer, sunshine. We Get Back as a peppy rocker kind of a track.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's interesting to open the album with a song called We Get Back too, because what are we getting back to? We're just starting the album, we're getting to know them for the first time, but We Get Back is the sentiment.
But when you get to the end of it and then you start over, we get back to the top of the album.
We get back to the top of the album. Good thinking. I love it. It's kind of like an end of the relationship song, right? How did you know we weren't breaking it off too soon? How did you know we were doing the right thing? We got lost and you never look back. But we get back on our own. We're returning to like single life. We're splitting off where we came from. But it's not sad. It's a very happy sounding way to describe that. I just love the vibes of the first song. We open up on a really strong note. I like that everything kind of builds to the chorus, and then the chorus kind of breaks down a little bit with a big drum beat, right? We kind of lose the flow of the song for a minute at the start of the chorus. I like it. And then we kind of move smooth as butter into the second track of the album with Washed Up Together. Oh man, it's a wall of sound. It's a really catchy song. There's some really high vocalizations in there that I love. Kind of a hallmark of the Knox Hamilton sound. Those falsetto kind of background, not even vocals with lyrics, but just vocalizations with syllables. And it is. When they say it's the melody that takes you, absolutely. Washed Up Together, melody all the way. I'll take that anytime. And this is a falling in love song as opposed to We Get Back, which is a post-breakup kind of song. Washed Up Together, we're in mad love, washed up, young blood washed up. Boots said that I was listening to Beyonce's Crazy in Love at the time I wrote this line, so instead of just ripping the line clean, I instead paid my homage by describing the song character's love as mad. He said, a bit of an over-exaggeration, but I do love Beyonce and that song. So Washed Up Together is Beyonce inspired, if you can believe it.
Huh.
Yeah. He also said young blood is a term I've always associated with limitlessness, and I thought describing the characters as invincible kids in love suited the song's adventurous nature. I love that. It's just it's an empowering song. Washed Up Together, you're on top of the world, you're in love, you're feeling what you feel, and I'll do no better than you all my life. Be what you want if it makes you happy. Go where you want. I'll turn the ship around. I'll facilitate you going where you want. Like, I'm all in and I'm working to your benefit. Love it. Such a sweet sentiment.
I think it is a very strong track for track 2.
Yeah, no doubt. It almost, you're like, where can the album go from here?
Yeah, and it goes some places.
It really does. I know. Shockingly.
It is shockingly short as well.
Yeah. Digestible, though.
I mean, it is basically 3 minutes, don't get me wrong, but it just flies by.
Every song on this album flies by. Not a one of them passes into 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Shoot, only 2 of them really crack like 3.5 minutes. I just love the drums. I love the guitar. I love the way they can scale it back on the verses and then kind of explode you into the chorus. There's some good harmonies in here. Just strong stuff. But yeah, one of the places the album goes next is to one of those rockier tracks. I think Washed Up Together is a little bit on the synthier side, a little tiny bit, and Set It On Fire is like a full-on rock song, and it leans more into those falsetto vocals that they kind of introduce on Washed Up Together, but they just explode on you in the chorus. They really set it on fire with that. I guess I think of Set It On Fire as a rock song because of the rhythm guitar in the background, although it does have a pretty strong synth hook over top of that. It's a little more driven, a little more intentional, a little more intense.
Yeah.
A couple of those I Saw Your Face in a Crowded Place lines, I mean, he just belts, he just yells. He said of that line, he said, "This was my take on the two people lock eyes from across a smoke-filled room scene, where it seems you're the only two people who exist, and that if a spark ignites just right, it's as if it could burn the place to the ground." So that's what they do. You set it on fire. Karma came just in time. Fall back in love. It's that moment of love at first sight kind of encapsulated in this explosive spark. Set it on fire. I saw your face in a crowded place, and then everything exploded. The song really does a good job of encapsulating that energy. Did you feel like Set It On Fire, Set It On Fire?
At first, I found the instrumentation on this one really fun.
Yeah, I don't like the at first on that.
But by the end, I felt a little repetitive. It was so, like, in the focus of the song. Like, it was so prevalent the whole time.
That's true.
And it wasn't really doing anything different throughout the song.
Well, we get a bridge.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm just saying, in general, it's basically that same run over and over.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's a good run. I can see why they wanted to highlight it. It's a little,
I guess even the bridge isn't that different. They just make it sound a little different.
Yeah.
By scaling it back and kind of approaching that chord progression differently.
It's something that reminds me that this is a debut album.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
Those are the kind of things that I feel like when we've done debut albums in the past that we've pointed out and been like, oh, they haven't necessarily matured as songwriters in that area yet.
Not necessarily all the time.
Yeah.
But I think it's good that we have to look a little harder to find those things. I think it speaks to the strength of the debut that we got to dig in for things like that. But we'll get into more. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
I think Set It On Fire, I love the melody so much. I think Call Me Up suffers a little bit from the same repetitive sort of problem, but I don't think the melody hooks me quite as strongly as Set It On Fire. I do kind of like the way that Call Me Up kicks off. Little bass part, vocal, drum. There's like no lead in. It just kind of does the pickup and then gets right to it. It kind of does a good build into the pre-chorus, The Long Ride, The Dark Night. It's another song that kind of like is a breakup sort of song. It was wrong of you to leave me so soon. I don't see you here. I can't feel you. Call me up. I'll come running. So it's just another song that finds a way to put a happy spin on a sadder moment. And again, like they said, they don't want to indulge the badness, but it finds a way to make it optimistic. And I really like that way to twist the sentiment.
Sure, yeah.
You're the closest thing that I'll ever be to getting lost in hell or heaven. Like, whatever extreme I'm at, you're the closest I'll be to feeling that way. This is a really cool line.
It's a very cool line. Getting lost in hell or heaven.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of where I end up, I'll never be as lost as hell I am right now that you've left.
Yeah. Right. You're the only one who's got the magic to stir my blood. Wow. I like some of the rhythmic tricks they get into here. At the end of each chorus, call me up. It kind of hiccups twice after. Mm-hmm. That's a really good move to build you into that instrumental interlude.
Sure.
I think it's a really interesting song. But one of my favorite songs on the album is up next. Track 5. They just keep doing things where I'm like, wow, I can't believe they took the album here. Like, where next? And Pretty Way to Fight is one of those songs where I'm like, wow, this is another one of those pure rock tracks. It's a song that I love. The chord progression in Pretty Way to Fight is unparalleled. Probably stands alone on this album in some of its qualities. It's got a really unique floaty and suspended feel, even though it's got that really rough rock edge to it. Pretty Way to Fight, it's another, you're fighting with somebody, but you're so in love with them, you're so smitten by them that even the way that they fight, it's pretty. Even the way that you're in conflict, like you're still so in love with them that it doesn't matter. You're going to look past it and find a way to work through it. And that's what's so cool. Like they lean into that with things like the pre-chorus. It goes away. Please don't go away, right? This anger, this conflict is going to go away. Please don't you go away in the wake of that, right? Boots said the feeling of being in love might be fleeting or may even leave completely. And this lyric represents those times and people that are more important than that feeling. I wanted to try and make another lyric work, but the final lyric was more catchy than love can leave, but will you stay? That was an initial thought. I'm glad he changed it because it goes away, please don't go away is really powerful. And there's some really cool rhymes in here too. You've got a pretty way to fight, and I like it all right. It was love at first sight, we were bright in the right light. A lot of "ite" rhymes.
Yeah.
And I think that's a An ambitious kind of rhyme to tackle, but it's cool. The best line in the song, of course, is the title line. You've got a pretty way to fight, but I think I like it all right. Boots says it's his favorite line, and it simply represents how difficult it is to find flaws in your favorite people. Some people are beautiful even when they're fighting. I love the way it's arranged. I love the instrumentation. The drums are excellent, and the way that they kind of build a very rhythmic, pulsing synth over top of it really pulls me in.
The pulsing synth is very cool.
And over top of that, too, they still have some really piercing guitar licks. The chord that happens, as they say, can't seem to put my finger on it, and they let it hang there, that's probably my favorite chord on the whole album. And then at the end, they kind of hold on to you, and they scoop it up. Got a pretty way to fight. Maybe my favorite moment, singular moment on this album. They mess with the rhythms again on the instrumental breakdown, right? That minute 45 mark. They kind of go like halftime with the drums. Love that. Then they scale it back for a little whoa-oh-ohs. Some good old whoa-ohs. Can't beat them.
Yeah, can't beat the whoa-ohs.
It's cool. And then the chorus does that thing that you like a lot, where it changes, right?
I do like it.
Instead of right or wrong, they sing something's wrong. It kind of gives you a different sense. You know, before right or wrong, there's two sides to this conflict. Black and white is very defined. And then to switch to something's wrong, there becomes like this sense of ambiguity. I don't know what's wrong anymore. It's just something. I've identified that things are off, and there's no black or white. There's no right or wrong. There's no clear path through it. It's really cool. And in fact, something's wrong was the initial plan. Boots said that was actually the original main lyric, and I changed it to right or wrong at the producer's urging. He said the original lyric, which is something's wrong, is meant to represent imperfect love, almost ignoring the bad for the good of a relationship. When you have to ask someone, is your heart still in it? That's usually a point of no return. But the last line of the chorus puts a positive spin on the idea, and the song as a whole, we were bright in the right light, is a silver lining, a point of reference to come back to when you're worried the thing you've been working so hard at is almost over. There are bright spots at times, and maybe that's all we have to hold on to. It's a very optimistic song. You got a pretty way to fight. This may be my playlist pick, but it depends. I honestly truly don't know, even at this point, what my playlist pick will be.
You really don't know. Wow.
There's so many that I like. This is a no skips album for me. I just like them all.
Wow.
I know. There's a little bias.
If it's not this one, I think I know which one it could be.
Yeah? What do you think?
I'm not going to tell you now.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Well, let's keep on moving. How's Your Mind is up next.
My mind's pretty good. How's yours?
It's solid. My Mind is swell. How's Your Mind is a floaty, airy song.
Very floaty. Yeah.
We're kind of in a middle section of the album that's like that. I mean, How's Your Mind and Work It Out both share a lot of those same qualities, but man, How's Your Mind is just wild. We open with a chorus that's very reverby, very big, and then we kind of get a verse that's way more rhythmically tethered and grounded, but then we just kind of explode back into that airy chorus every time it comes up. Kind of launches himself into How's Your Mind get up that way. It's awesome. Boots said music is sometimes used as more of an escape than a facilitator of one's current mood or environment. And this is one of those songs where I sometimes can get kind of lost in my own little world when playing it live. And boy, do I believe that. It's another plucky little verse, too. The guitar, I really like what they do on the verses. It kind of does a call and response with itself. There's a lower kind of part, and then it echoes itself with a higher guitar part. Really clever, really engaging. Head full of bright ideas, innocent until it's lit.
I like how they don't stay in the airiness the whole song.
No.
That would have been too much.
It would have probably been.
So this is an example of where they were able to recognize that it would be too much, too repetitive, too much of the same thing. They had to mix it up.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they did.
I agree. I think if they're gonna stay in one mode too long, the grounded rocky mode is the better mode to stay in.
Correct.
Airy mode gets too amorphous. You get lost a little too much. So I'm glad that they never really do that much. There's a line in here that's really interesting. They say, future, hope you understand. It's a line that comes up in other Knox Hamilton songs too, notably a song called Trade My Trips. Not from this album, but a good one. It's a reference, Boots says, to dropping out of college the first time around due to being young and stupid, but life works out sometimes. Kind of, making a decision and saying, well, whatever I'm doing now, me in the future is going to have to be okay with it because this is where my heart's at right now and the passion that I need to pursue right now at the expense of my future. But you'll understand. It'll work out. It's a really interesting line. And speaking of working it out, the track that put Knox Hamilton on the map is up next in Work It Out. The first Knox Hamilton song I ever heard. It was fascinating to be, have none of the context of the first 6 tracks of this album, just to hear this cold on the radio, literal FM radio back in the day. I mean, it would come on and I was hooked. To hear this slide guitar kind of sound, this really fast drum part, this ambient synth, that really just fills all the space of your ears. Like there's no negative space in Work It Out. And I think it's beautiful. The vocals are really soft and gentle, but they're really poignant and purposeful. The harmonies are awesome. I don't have enough good things to say about Work It Out. Boots said that Work It Out is a culmination of our eclectic musical sensibilities as individuals and our combined infatuation with indie pop rock as a band. He said the song could easily be trimmed to simple, commercial-length sound bites, but it could also accompany you on a cross-country road trip. And I love it. It's just a song that feels really uninhibited, really free, really happy. And again, that message of we can work it out. We can get through this. It's pretty way to fight, but in a really light way.
So this song's like what put them on the map, you said?
It is, yeah. Got some radio play. It ended up on like alt charts.
Interesting.
Yeah, how do you feel about it compared to the rest of the album?
Yeah, no, it absolutely tracks. I figured this was their big breakout song based on the plays.
Yeah.
And I could see how this would have radio appeal.
Totally. Today it's up to 21 million streams on Spotify alone.
I really like it.
Me too.
This is the one I thought might be your playlist pick.
Could be.
But I know you'd like to not go for the mainstream stuff.
Sometimes.
To me, they say I know a little too much.
I know. Well, there's the xylophone intro.
That's cool.
There's the whistly kind of instrument at the 2.5 minute breakdown.
Yeah, there's cool stuff in here. Just a little too much I know.
It's a lot of I know. But the melody's so good with it. I don't want any less of the melody.
I don't want any less of the melody either. I just want something else in there.
Yeah. I like that it ends with the drums the way it does, too. A lot of clever decisions. I don't know. And up next, we kind of get a little pseudo-ballad. A little fast for ballad sensibilities, but the sentiment is sweet, and it's a love song through and through. Never My Love. Never My Love is interesting because it's kind of built on this droning note. They kind of introduced it in the beginning, and it's a through thread that lasts for most of the track. And that's cool. It gives us a nice anchor to keep coming back to. There's more xylophone in it. A lot of the instrumental decisions on Never My Love are really cool.
I'll tell you now, Never My Love is my honorable mention.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. That's nice.
Mainly for the instrumental decisions.
Yeah, no surprise there. It does do a lot with a little. I don't think if this makes sense, it doesn't go as many vertical places as the other songs, right? The instruments don't go high and low. Each instrument kind of stays within its little box. But they do a lot with dynamics. They do a lot with putting the right instruments into the song at the right times and arranging the song to make it really cool. It's a very horizontally instrumented song instead of vertically.
Yeah.
And the sentiment is awesome too, right? You ask me if you ask me if my heart will lose its desire for you. You're wondering if I'll change my mind, if I'll grow tired of you. Never My Love. That's it. It presents a concern and it refutes it. It's a really comforting song. It's a really sweet song. What makes you think love will end when you know that my whole life depends on you? I mean, that's intense.
Very.
But it's so sweet. What a good way to put someone's mind at ease. Never My Love. Never. It's adamant. It's final. There's no chance that it's any different than the way it is. I like it a lot. I also really like Rightfully So. One of my favorite tracks to just crank up to obscene volumes.
To 11.
In the car and drive.
It's usually my go-to move.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of people's go-to move for a lot of things, but a lot of the tracks on the Heights can honestly do that for me. But Rightfully So is one of them. We kind of build our way into this main little synth line, and the whole song is built around Rightfully So, built around that phrase. Boots says sometimes a song sticks with a person because of the melody or lyrics, but I think it's just as important to hear an often used catchphrase or saying outside of a musical context and it bring to mind a song. Rightfully So fit the feeling and narrative of the song, and actually the song was written around the phrase. So they liked Rightfully So and they built the song around it. I've been trying to find you. I don't want to say goodbye. Rightfully so, no one else will do. Like, it's of course I'm with you. Rightfully so. I couldn't do anything else. There's some really good lyrics in here too. I gotta get up. I gotta get up. It's a reference to like a fighter, right? Trying to pick up him or herself during the ref's 10 count. You're going to get knocked out, but you gotta get up. You gotta keep going. It's persistent. I also really love, I don't just keep the pictures you're smiling in. I think that's cool. I think that speaks to this person in this relationship really wanting to preserve a true and complete and realistic image of the person that they love. Like, I don't just want to remember the good times. I don't just want you at your best. I want you all the time. I want all the memories. I want the good with the bad because I just want you. I don't just keep the pictures you're smiling in. Oh, it's so cool. The inspiration's a little less than romantic. Boots said, I wrote this line a few years before writing the song after seeing photos of my grandmother-in-law from back in the day. He said she was young in the pictures but still seemed just as stern as she was in her later years. Mama was rarely ever photographed without her signature scowl, and yet we always saw her as beautiful, never once doubting the love that she had for her family. He also tacked on, he said, excluding me. of course. But man, I just love that lyric. I love the drums in Rightfully So, especially right before the chorus.
The drums, this one's a good drum highlight track. Like, the drums have been pretty consistent the whole album.
They have.
But if we had to pick a track to highlight them, it'd be probably Rightfully So.
Ooh, I think that's fair. And I think that's a good point. They sit kind of far back in the mix. Sometimes they are overshadowed a little bit by that pulsating synth bass line, but they're really good. If you can suss them out, if you can get to the bottom of the drums, they are always top-notch on Rightfully So. You might even say they're a sound for sore ears. But more importantly than that, we get one of the longest songs on this album, Sight for Sore Eyes. Another rocker through and through. It's just about coming home to the person you love after a long time away and how much of a sight for sore eyes they are, how much you'll love to see them again after being apart for so long. What a relief, what a lot off your shoulders. What a good feeling it is to be reunited. Cowboys sing on the radio. We hear them shoot their empty guns out into the night. There's just a loneliness about that line, about everything. They're insecure about the love of their lives. Like so many people out there are searching and lacking and missing and wanting. But you, I have you. You're a sight for sore eyes. I've been alone for a long time, and now I get you. When I see your face moving this way, it's the best feeling. It's a cool chorus. I like the way that they cut out at the beginning of the chorus too, and kind of let it build up into itself. It's just a very big song, and I really like that.
A little long.
You think?
No, it's really not that long. Again, it flies by.
It's so varied that 3 minutes and 50 seconds is a blink.
Yeah.
A blink for sore eyes. That's really the trick. Just hydrate them a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Stop staring at screens.
We don't want to get into that, you know. We've had bad history of look up from your phone songs.
You're right. This is not a look up from your phone song. Please no. I've yet to hear a really good one.
I thought you didn't mind Electric Circus.
Electric Circus was okay, but anyway, we're getting off track.
Anyway.
Sight for Sore Eyes, I definitely don't mind.
I like the instrumental break we get around the 2-minute mark.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, if you eliminated that, you'd be at like normal song length. But I really think it adds a lot of value to the song. So that's why I'm okay with it being significantly longer.
Significantly as if it's not like 30 or 40 seconds. Like, that's it.
That's a significant portion.
It is.
40 seconds out of 3 minute and 50 second songs. 17%.
17.39130.4%, actually. But you're right, that is a pretty good chunk of song. There's a second instrumental break in the 3.5 minute mark. I think both are important. Both are really good.
Yeah.
But I like them. We follow up that long song with a shorter song, though, so you can kind of cleanse your palate with Back Porch if you need to. Back Porch is another song I really love, the rhythmic decisions and the drums. I mean, they kind of hit these big guitar parts, and the drums kind of do a 1, 2, 3 that I really like. It's kind of counter to the normal rhythm. It's really good. It's almost like Sight for Sore Eyes, but for kissing, right? You're a kiss for sore lips. It's about kissing someone on the back porch, and your kiss brought me home. Your kiss is the right place for me to be. It's just a really romantic song about a really intimate moment, and the energy of it is just infectious.
Yeah, the energy is... It's a good spot for this song, too, as we're getting into the last couple tracks.
Yeah, it's the last up-tempo high point of the album. We got a couple of ballads to close us out.
It pumps you up high so you can mellow down over the last couple tracks.
Yeah, finding out that I don't carry the weight of the world alone. I'm coming home, taking me there where you know I'm yours. It's just so sweet. A lot of these lyrics are semi-abstract, but they're very directly tied to like feelings and emotions, and like you get it. Picture yourself on that northern shore. We don't really know what that is. We don't know where that is. Little Rock doesn't have a northern shore, but like, so what? You get it, you know? Your kiss on the back porch brought me home. It's a little repetitive for that to be the one line in the chorus, but boy, is it such a good melody. It's totally excusable to me. Plus, it's such a short song. You can't be mad at it. Up next, we kind of get another post-breakup song in the same vein of We Get Back, but it's a little sadder. This is maybe Barely Miss You, I think, is the saddest point on the album. They don't really indulge the bad feelings, and this isn't a bad feeling per se, because you're in the process of moving on. But it does kind of linger in the memory of the relationship. I barely missed you at all last night. I'm moving on. I barely shed a tear. Fake a smile, stay away. Like, I'm in the process of moving on, and I'm getting better, but I still missed you. Like, I barely did it, but I still did. The chorus on this one is weirdly staccato. We haven't had a lot of moments like the chorus on this. Fake a smile, stay a while. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's a rare kind of vibe for this album.
It's cool. I love a good staccato.
Yeah, me too. Don't carry the weight of all these fights. Fake a smile, stay a while.
I do like fake a smile, stay a while.
Yeah, survive the night, stay forever. We go from stay a while to stay forever. I barely missed you.
I like keep it cool around you, but inside I'm a hurricane.
Yes, what a bridge, right? I'm not ready, I'm not steady.
Barely Missed You was almost my honorable mention.
Yeah, the ballad guy, I thought it'd be hard to resist something like Barely Missed You. But wow, Never My Love is what edged it out for honorable mention, huh?
Yeah, just very cool.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, one of my favorite songs on the album is its namesake track and the album closer,
Title track!
The Heights.
Really holding out on the title track till the very end here.
Yeah, they kept you waiting for it. And I think, if I may be punny, rightfully so. Because this is the perfect closer. Out of these 13, they nailed it. The Heights is such a sweet song, imagining, like, really indulging in life with the person that you love, right? Tonight, our little apartment is a house in the Heights. We're dancing together in the kitchen, something. We're having a little romantic, cute moment. And it doesn't matter what our life situation is, because as long as I'm with you, my life is as good as it could possibly be. It might as well be a house in the Heights, because I'm so content and so happy to be right here with you right now. It's nice. The Heights is actually real, by the way. It's a nice name that feels like it applies to any generic nice neighborhood, but it really is a hip and trendy spot in Little Rock. So that's cool that it's based on a specific Heights, but it does feel very generally applicable to whatever city you live in, whatever place you're around. You know what the Heights is to you. It's gentle. It's an acoustic kind of song. They really scale it back. They don't go overboard in any way whatsoever. They do something I really like that I've talked about. The song starts with and all of your faults, lay them at my feet. We kind of pick the story up mid-line, and I love that. It's really cool to me. Lay all your faults at my feet. I want to walk with you. You keep my fears away from me. You're my music and you're my sound, and I don't want to get used to not having you around. A little bit of double negative in there that's not too hard to decipher, right? I just want you around forever. I think it's a really heartfelt, moving sentiment to end the album with. This whole album has been about love songs, about falling in love, staying in love, recovering from love. And The Heights is just like that slow burn of deep affection with somebody that you want to spend the rest of your life with. The Heights embodies that in the same way that Set It On Fire embodies the spark of a love at first sight, or the way that Washed Up Together embodies this feeling of discovery, or Pretty Way to Fight just helps take away a person's flaws. Like, The Heights is such a good embodiment of just the sum total of the love story that this album walks through. To call it something like a Hemingway novel, it's got to end with The Heights. I don't know, what did you think of The Heights?
It was a very good closer. It isn't my favorite song on the album.
No.
But it's maybe my favorite part of the album.
Oh, say more.
No. No.
Oh, well, dang. Enjoy pondering that thought, audience.
Individually, like the song The Heights, just as a song, like if you were to just hit play, hit shuffle, The Heights is on, I might be like, yeah, I mean, it's a decent song. It's not their best work. But this lead up from Back Porch into Barely Missed You into The Heights, and then again, kind of like as I said at the top of the album, The Heights fades out, and then it starts over right into We Get Back.
Yes.
And it's a great run of songs. I think the end of the album is the strongest run of the songs, even though the songs themselves aren't necessarily individual. It's a good example of why I love this podcast so much, right? Because I'm the singles listener, and there's times where you're like, wow, these songs are great. But then there are other times where you're like, wow, the order in which you listen to the songs just enhances that experience.
For sure.
And this is one of those cases.
Awesome. I love that. That's what the Year Discovery is all about. Well, shall we get into Final Spin?
Shall we get back to Final Spin?
Oh, we get back to Final Spin. Very nice. Our proverbial back porch. Well, again, there's big time nostalgia and personal bias here. I can admit that. I own it. I understand that my scores may feel very high to some people. I love this album. It is what a surprising discovery, right? I can't believe that there's only one Knox Hamilton album. I can't believe that it came out 8 years ago and it still feels as fresh as it does. It feels kind of ageless. I think it's really well executed, a perfect attempt to achieve their mission statement of emphasizing happy moments and not indulging the sadness. Even the sadder songs on this record don't let it show. They don't feel it. You don't sit with it. You kind of move through it. They don't like skirt around it, but they don't bog the album down with it. It's really intriguing. I'm giving the music a 95. I like so many of these melodies, so many of these hooks. Some of them do get a little bit repetitive, but not much. Honestly, I think as a debut album from a band that's doing their own indie thing from Little Rock where there is no music scene, as they say.
Every time you say Little Rock, I think Little Rock.
Like Reba.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a good song. Anyway, I hadn't thought of that until now. Now it's going to be stuck in my head again for the next couple minutes until I can go listen to it. But yeah, the music's so cool. 95 for the music. I really like this album. Like I said, no skips. Lyrically, I'm giving it a 92. I think they do a good job at conjuring imagery and emotions without being too specific and niche. You know, your kiss on the back porch brought me home. Even if you've never been kissed on a back porch, I think that's a feeling that you understand. And that's really cool. I think they do a good job at pairing music to lyrics. Something like Pretty Way to Fight, How's Your Mind, Rightfully So. They construct the lyrics to match the music really well. I think it's just nice. There's a lot of references to things, a lot of allusions, just some good wordplay. 92. Instruments and production, 96. This is a happy album. This sounds like a happy album. Each song kind of feels like its own little world. There's a lot of variation in the way they produce things, but the instruments, like they still choose tones that are similar for their synths and their guitars that you could still recognize. Oh, this is a Knox Hamilton song. But each song kind of blends those things in a unique way. The dual album kind of mentality with a rockier set of tracks and a synthier set of tracks, like it works. It just does. Some of the songs kind of straddle that line, and I think they provide a little continuity between the two halves. I think it's really neat. Overall vibe, I'm giving it a 97. This is a summer album. It's a feel-good album. For me, instant classic. Its overall score, again, personal bias, admitted. I own it. It's a 95.6, putting it on my personal ranking list at number 15.
Wow.
That's high. I know. That's above Sufjan Stevens' Illinois, which I can acknowledge probably should have a higher music score. I don't actually know what its music score is, but it should be higher.
Dang.
Which does have a higher music score. But anyway, it's above Illinois. It's below 2112 by Rush. I'm a big Rush fan.
Yeah.
2112 is a 20-minute sci-fi space epic. Hard to beat. But that's me. How did you feel about this album you were discovering for the first time? I'm so excited to get your thoughts.
I hated it.
Oh, well, I'm less excited to get the rest of your thoughts.
It was a very cool album. I could see when I get in my indie mood putting this back on, but I just don't think I was in my indie mood at the time you picked this.
No, a bad week.
It's a bad week. But I am kind of in my rock mood, so it has that going for it.
You just need a little more dependent rock.
Yeah.
The independent rock's not cutting it for you.
Yeah, I need my rock to need me to help pay its bills.
That seems unhealthy.
Yeah.
I just want to be needed by my rock.
I'm going to give this one a very respectable 7 out of 10.
I respect that. I do. I think if you had more time with these songs, you would come to like them.
That may be true.
But one listen.
I did only get one listen.
It's a respectable 7 for a one listen first time hearing of the band.
Yeah. It's going right between Neutral Milk Hotel and Julian Baker.
Ooh, that is a solid 7. But, pray tell, what on earth is between the dancing memes and the potato lips?
Well, everybody knows that between those two things are the country album kazoos.
The country kazoos, huh?
Yep, 7 country kazoos between those potato lips.
You can play your country kazoos with potato lips. Of course.
And people will
dance
their
They'll
memes.
dance like Julian Baker and be all wobbly. The dancing meme, young and sweet, spin it pickle queen. That's going to give people the wrong impression about this album. If your unit is country kazoos, they're going to come in being like, what?
Well, it was either that or bear attacks, and that also gives the wrong impression, so.
Well, yeah, it's true. They didn't get attacked by a bear. You could do times near a bear, but that's not nearly as cool of a unit.
Plus, I just like the idea of it being completely not, like, they're not country. I just like
Yeah, you like to
unit.
deceive the people.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. What about those top 3s and a playlist pick? So far, we only know a honorable mention and a near miss of the honorable mention.
Top 3 in album order. Washed Up Together.
Oh.
Pretty Way to Fight.
And I like it. All right.
How's Your Mind?
Oh, wow.
And honorable mention, Never My Love.
How's Your Mind over Work It Out is a surprise to me.
Yeah, too many I knows.
Yeah, I know. But I thought you could work it out. Guess I was wrong.
Yeah, and I'm going to take Washed Up Together as my pick.
Washed Up Together. Do what you want. I'll pull my punches. Say what you want. Louder than any sound. Feel what you feel. I'll do no better than you. Well, I will, because my playlist pick will be one that I like maybe better than Washed Up Together. You've given me a tough call. I'm between Pretty Way to Fight, Work It Out, and The Heights.
Choice only you can make.
I know.
Unless you want me to make it for you.
No, I'd rather not. Work It Out I like because that's how I found Knox Hamilton, and I want that to be how people who listen to the playlist find Knox Hamilton, right? That'd be cool. But Pretty Way to Fight was a total blindside of a surprise. I really like that one. It's kind of a good foil, you know what, to Washed Up Together. If Washed Up Together is going to be from the synthier album, then Pretty Way to Fight can be a pick from the rockier half. I think that's what's going to decide it for me. Much love to Work It Out, Into the Heights, but I think I'm taking Pretty Way to Fight because I like it all right. But I suppose that's going to do it for 203 episodes of Spin It.
Wow.
Remarkable. How fun. Thanks for indulging me in this discovery pick. I hope you had as much fun as I did. I hope you've listened to this album in this episode and discovered something that you might like or might hate, but I hope you like it. If you want more Spin It, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Follow and rate 5 stars and like and subscribe and do all the things. You can also find us on social media at Spin It Pod Official on Instagram and at Spin It Pod on X and other places. You can find us at our website, www.spinitpod.com, which is where everything is.
Tell a friend who you'd get their high school photo tattooed on yourself about the podcast.
Oh, wow. Tell the most rock and roll dude you'd get tattooed on you. Yeah, their high school yearbook photo tattooed on your arm with their name above and below it.
I would get your high school yearbook photo tattooed on me.
Oh, thanks. I don't think I'd get a tattoo.
Well, I wouldn't either, but if I did.
Oh, if I did?
I'd consider you.
You'd consider me?
Yeah, if you were like, you should get a picture of my high school yearbook photo. Be like, yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
There are worse things to have tattooed on me.
A few, but I can't think of too many.
I'd get a Spin It logo tattooed on me.
Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be cool. Maybe you should. I don't know. Just saying. Could be fun. We get matching Spin It logos tattooed, but you go first.
Nice try. You know what else would be fun?
What?
To keep spinning!
Oh, keep spinning. Nice, you snuck that one in on me. Hey, I have a question. It's going to make me sound silly.
Okay.
How many Z's are in kazoo? Because I put one in there and it didn't look right. And so I put the second one in there and it still didn't look right.
You're asking the wrong guy, but I think it's Kazoo.
Well, I think so too, but two doesn't look right. You're right. I think it's just one.
Because it's just zoo with a K on the front of it.
Just a zoo of Ka. Yeah, you're right. I think I got that all mixed up. I'm still thinking about Kalamazoo from the Cody Fry episode, and that's way more letters than I need.